Hey guys, it's Kelli from FitnessBlender.com, and today I'm going to share a video with you that I have tried to film multiple times, and either I've chickened out while I'm filming it, or I can't bring myself to watch the footage, or just fill in the blank. I make up some excuse and I just can't quite bring myself to do it. So it's going to be hard, but I want to do it because I hope and I think that sharing my story might help someone, and even if just one person was helped, then it would be totally worth it. So I'm willing to take that risk. So this is my before and after story, and it would be, I think, easier maybe for me if I was just able to say, here's my before and this is my after, but there is a lot more going on than that, and I just didn't think that it would do it justice, and I don't think it'd be fair to share just the before and after, or just the fact that I lost 40 pounds, because there's a lot more going on behind that. So my heart is pounding, my hands are shaking, but I'm going to do this. So I started at a very young age with kind of a distorted body image in a sense, just kind of really disordered thinking kind of really early on. And, I'm sure it was a combination of media and brain chemicals and maybe the way adults talked around me. I'm not sure. Just probably many different variables all coming together for the perfect storm. I also have obsessive compulsive disorder, which I keep very well managed with a healthy diet and exercise nowadays. But there have been times in my life where it has had a much louder role than others, and this is definitely a place where, again, it was the perfect storm. So with that cyclic thinking and kind of tendency towards obsessive thinking, it really set me up for an eating disorder that lasted me a very good part of my youth and actually into early adulthood too. I was very active from a really young age. Even when I was really little, I think maybe like as young as 5, my parents had me in sports and I was in dance classes and I loved it. And then somewhere over the years, everything started to change. But by the time I was 14, it was probably really had reached its full deafening volume in my life, I guess. And for about a decade, I was in a violent spin of either starving myself or over exercising. I would exercise until the point where I could barely form sentences. I couldn't speak like by the time I was done, and I thought this was some kind of progress. Sorry, try to keep it together here. I really didn't expect for this to be this emotional. Actually, I thought, oh yeah, I'll just do this and it'll be great. It'll help somebody. And instead, every time I try to talk about it, I realized how much was going on. How much it hurt and how much it took from me over the years, and just the idea that I was doing these things to my body. So like I said, over exercising and either starving myself, and in that 10-year period, for 10 years, off and on sporadically, I struggled pretty hard with bulimia, which is where you binge on food and then you purge, and it is the most violent thing you can do to your body. And my health really suffered. I went through all kinds of tests. They were trying to figure out what was going on with my stomach. They're trying to figure out my health was just, it was awful. What I was doing to myself kind of behind the scenes, and no one knew is the thing. Over all the years that it was happening, I just didn't tell anyone. I was ashamed and I was scared, and I had such a warped mindset that I really couldn't see outside of it a lot of times. I counted every single calorie that I ever ate, and because of this, the OCD factor, the obsessive compulsive disorder, I wouldn't just count the calories when I was done. I would count, and I would recount, and I would recount, and just, on this continuous loop. There's so many times that it should have been, I really regret not being able to be really present in these memories that I have, big days, like graduation or my own wedding day or fun times with friends and family where I'm just doing math in my head, just counting and recounting and recounting and recounting how many calories I've eaten. And it was a pure obsession. It is not as simple as weight loss, actually, because it wasn't that I just so wanted to weigh this amount or look this certain way that I was willing to do this to my body. It was more vague than that. And this whole time through high school and through college, I would have been healthy otherwise, but I had so many stomach problems. I was always in pain. I was always tired. There were days when I almost didn't have, depending on how bad things were going at that moment, where I didn't have the energy to get out of bed. And this is a time when, like I said, I could have been healthy. I was healthy otherwise, and I was doing really well in school. I was getting awards for my grades. I was working really hard. I had an amazing group of friends. I have an amazing family. I was doing really well in both of my degrees. I was working at least one job. One time I was working even 3 jobs to pay my way through college. I should have felt good about myself. I should have been patting myself on the back for juggling so many things, and instead, all that mattered with all of those things going on and all of those things that I was trying to excel at, the thing that decided how my day was going to be was the number on the scale. I loved my family, I loved my friends, I loved my life, but when it came to my own health, it was like it didn't even matter. Nothing mattered, and somehow these numbers, whether it was calories or the numbers on the scale, they took over everything. And I was really sick. There were times where I was really sick and no one around me knew, because I was so ashamed that I wouldn't say anything to anybody. And that feeling of being ashamed was bigger than just being embarrassed for what I was doing, because I knew it wasn't right and I knew it wasn't healthy, but it was bigger in the sense of, I was destroying my body and destroying my health. And there are things going on in the world, crazy things, violence and illness, and there are people who don't know where they're going to get their dinner at night. And I'm looking at myself and I'm thinking, what is going on? Why am I killing myself over this? Why does this matter so much? Why is it worth, it doesn't make sense. I knew that, but it didn't matter. I just felt so powerless. I felt like it was completely out of my control. The ironic thing is that all of this doesn't even work for weight loss. So all of these things that I was doing to myself, these crazy things that damage your health and your mind, and it doesn't even help you lose weight. It doesn't even help. And once I stopped doing these things, I lost 40 pounds. When I stopped dieting and I stopped over-exercising, I stopped binging and purging, and I started eating well and exercising smartly, I actually lost 40 pounds. So the real kicker is that with all of those terrible things that I was doing trying to lose weight, I actually gained weight. And when I stopped doing those things, I lost the weight. And I'm actually healthier, happier, fitter than I was, through my childhood, through my teens, and my 20s now. I'm 32, and I feel fitter than I ever have before, and that's really exciting, and I'm not doing anything extreme. I use, FitnessBlender workouts. Those are my workouts. I work out roughly 30 to 50 minutes, 3 to 5 times a week. I do strength training. I love strength training, and I think that actually strength training played a big part in me leaving the unhealthy habits behind. There was something about it that just made me start to view my body as something that I wanted to be stronger and healthier, and it was very empowering. It had a very positive effect on me. So I lost 40 pounds when I lost the bad habits. So now, 40 pounds lighter, I actually eat way more. I eat oftentimes over 3,000 calories a day, though I actually try not to count those calories. I think that's something, I don't need to know exactly how many calories I'm eating a day. I don't need to know my exact macronutrient breakdown. I don't need to know these things. In my personal opinion, I do way better without that exact information. I eat to feel good. I eat to nourish my body. I try to eat as many real foods as possible. I watch ingredients, not calories or even macronutrients. I worry about ingredients. And I've found that I have a diet that is very diverse, and I feel like I can eat whatever I want to. After you've eaten clean for a while, your taste buds change, and that old processed food, it doesn't even look like food to me anymore. Like, to eat it would probably make me nauseous. So it's been a fantastic change for mindset and body, and it's just an all-around win-win situation. So if you found yourself in this cycle and you're struggling and you just can't break off from those bad habits, just tell yourself it doesn't work. The science is there, the trial and error is there. These things will never work to get you a healthy, fit, lean body. So if for nothing else, if you can't do it just for your health, do it because it doesn't work. This will never get you where you want to be. You can't abuse your body and expect anything good to come out of it. I wanted to share my story with you because I have been there. I know what it's like to have extra weight. I know what it's like to be insecure about your body. I still have days like that all of the time. The way I feel about my body changes like on an hourly basis. So sometimes you just have to realize that there are other variables at play, and sometimes the mind is a tricky thing, and sometimes you just have to turn down the volume a little bit. And I think that was part of what happened. I mean, even if it took me a long time to get better, and I think a lot of it had to do with just faking it until I felt it. So even though those compulsions were still there, even though the obsessions were still there, I just turned down the volume and I said, no, it's not happening. I'm not doing this to myself. I'm not doing this self-inflicted pain anymore. I'm not abusing myself. And that, coupled with feeling the difference, what it felt like to eat real good food, what it felt like to nourish my body, what it felt like to adhere to a healthy, moderate exercise routine instead of just killing myself every day, what it felt like to actually adapt these habits ended up leading to me recreating and sticking to those healthy habits. Because when you feel how good it is, especially in comparison with if you're in this place in life where you're really, whether it's overeating, not eating enough, overworking, undersleeping, whatever it is, when you switch to habits where you are taking care of yourself, there's this light bulb moment where you feel different, and all kinds of things that you wouldn't expect start to improve. It took me a very long time to get better, and it was a bumpy road. It was not like this. It was more like this, and good days, bad days, good weeks, bad weeks, same with months. I mean, I really had to be patient with myself, and if you are going through the same thing, I would recommend the same thing. I would just recommend just fixing on the promise that I am not going to do this to myself anymore. And then if and when it does happen, you have to just let it slide off your back. You have to not judge yourself. You have to just get right back into healthy habits and just move forward. So it's really important to stay positive. It's really important to be patient with yourself. And it's really important to enlist the help of self-respect, self-interest, self-love, because you have to think, this is my body. I only get one body. If I destroy it or inflict some kind of damage on it, you can't always undo these things. And we're talking about your actual life here. Thinking about yourself the way you would think about your best friend or your sister or someone you really respect and love. Would you talk to them like this? Would you say these things to these people? Would you want to know that they were doing these things to their body? It would hurt you, right? It would hurt you to know that somebody you loved was going through something like that. So you have to take that feeling and then funnel it inward and try to apply it to yourself. But it's complicated, and I think every single one of us has a relationship with our body that is complicated. Even people that you wouldn't expect it. I mean, men, women, children, older people, I don't think any of us are immune to it. So I think that's the other thing is realizing that you're not unlike anyone else. We all struggle with different things, and you don't know what another person's struggle is, and they don't know what yours is. So having kind of that sense of forgiveness toward yourself too. Eating disorders are a very painful, complex, and dangerous thing. So if you are having trouble with an eating disorder, or if you know someone who is, try talking to someone. Just at least one person who you trust, who is going to have your best interest and the health of your body and the quality of your life in mind. Not a dieting buddy, not someone who's going to encourage you to restrict calories or exercise harder, someone who really cares about your health and your well-being. Talk to someone. Just don't go through it alone, because it's just really, really easy to spiral out of control. And before you know it, maybe you have organs failing and you've done some kind of damage to your body that you cannot undo. So take it seriously. It's not just about weight loss. These things do not help with weight loss. This is just my experience. I am not a registered counselor anymore, and but if you're having trouble, I really encourage you to talk to someone. Find someone you trust and talk to them. That's my story. This is my before and after story. It's complicated, it's ugly, and it's my story. And now it's out there. So thank you to everyone who has shared their story with me over the years, who have been so brave to come forward and tell me about their experiences. You were the ones that inspired me to do this and to share it with others, in hopes that anyone else who's listening out there, who's even considering mistreating their body, rethinks it. I've included a lot more information below. It's kind of hard to get all of this out on video, and I'm nervous, so I've got that working against me. So make sure to click below if you want to read more. I've included a lot more information. And if you have any questions, if you want to leave them in the comment section, I'll do my best to get back to you. Otherwise, thank you again for listening, and I will see you soon for some more new workout videos.